Hello and welcome to episode 29 of Reflecting the Way Radio, adding meaning to your life. Just before we get started here, I would strongly encourage you, if you haven't already done so, to check out our homepage, www.reflectingtheway.com, linked in the description box below. There is also a corresponding article or blog post that accompanies this episode. It is also linked in the description box below. Shares the same title, Adding Meaning to Your Life. And if you haven't done so, please go check us out on Facebook or Twitter. Facebook is Reflecting the Way, and Twitter is @ReflectTheWay. So today, I guess a little bit paradoxically, where we have a title of Adding Meaning to Your Life, I want to talk a little bit about slavery. So my question to you to start off this episode is, next Monday, what are you going to do the first thing you wake up? If you don't go to work every Monday morning, or whatever your schedule is, chances are pretty good that you live with somebody who does. So you're going to get up on Monday and you're going to roll out of bed, get ready for work, go to work, come home from work, eat supper, watch TV, go to bed, get up, go to work, come home, eat supper, watch TV, go to bed, lather, rinse, repeat. And I don't know very many people that actually enjoy that routine. There are a few out there, but very few. If you're one of those that does enjoy that, you might want to turn this off now, because this won't be for you. If you are like 90% of people and you'd really rather prefer not to have to do that, even if you enjoy your job and love your coworkers, keep listening. So there's this emphasis put on getting a good job from the time you're very young. And so often, especially us in the West, we just assume that's what you do. It's the way of the world. You go to school, you go to college, university, you get a good job. And that's kind of the expectation that others have for us and we have for ourselves. And of course, why shouldn't it be? Because from the earliest age, you go to school, your parents and teachers say, work hard, get good grades so that you can get into a good university or college so you can get a good job. You get to college or university, your parents and instructors tell you, work hard, choose the right major so you can get a good job. And okay, so we're indoctrinated that way. Fact. But why? Why do you get up and go to work? Okay, we all have bills. We all have, many of us have debt that needs servicing and so on. But that's not really the motivating factor as to why. That is an obligation. That is slavery. But why do you go to work? It's because of this indoctrination. And why are you told to get a good job? It's so that you can buy a nice car, a nice house, take nice vacations, and attract a good spouse. Maybe it's to maintain or elevate you or your family's social status. But does that really make you happy? Well, based on the number of people I know that hate getting up to go to work in the morning, I'm going to say no, it doesn't. So all of these things that we're told to do to get a good job, or because you have a good job, you should do this, right? It's go to college, buy a nice car, get a nice house, take good vacations, attract a nice spouse, take a great honeymoon, and so on, and so on, and so on. What does this really do? This is just the other side of this programming, where you're told, go to college, go to university. Why? To get a good job. Well, you can't really afford college or university because tuition fees are ridiculous. So what do? You take student loans. You take debt. Okay. You go to college, you go to university, you meet your significant other, and you decide you want to get married. Fine. Great. So maybe let's assume your parents are wealthy and they pay for the wedding. Okay. Now you want to take a honeymoon. Well, you can't really afford it because you just got out of college, you just barely got a job, you still have a bunch of student loans. So what do? You put it on credit card. You take debt. So life progresses. You've got your spouse. For a while, you're renting. You're driving just whatever can get you around. And you decide, well, don't really like renting so much. I'm expected to get a house, so I'll buy a house. Not that you can afford it because you have credit card debt and student loans. But hey, the bank gives you a mortgage, so you take debt. A couple of years go by and you get promoted to mid-level management, and suddenly the Nissan Sentra you're driving just doesn't quite fit your position of status, so you go and you trade it in for a new Infiniti, I mean, you don't have the cash in hand, but hey, you're getting a promotion and a raise, and you have to keep up appearances, right? So what do? You take debt. And okay, so now you've got the nice car. Maybe you upgrade the house. Still haven't paid off the first one, but hey, you upgrade. Status, right? More debt. Now you have this big house, and it's empty because you're two people, maybe three or four if you've had one or two kids, and you have a 2,500, 3,000 square foot house. And you use maybe the bathroom, maybe the living room, maybe not the second living room, but the first living room, you use that. You eat in the kitchen, and then you go to your bedroom, and the other 60% of the house only exists to be dusted. Okay, so you take debt on your credit card to fill it up with furniture and knickknacks and all that fun stuff. You take debt, and none of this makes you happy. How does that work? You were told this is the goal of life, right? It's the American dream. Life, love, and the pursuit of happiness. Notice the word pursuit. The implication there is you're pursuing it, but you're never going to get it. Because we're indoctrinated from a very young age to be consumerist. We need things to make us happy. Things bring you pleasure. And on the one hand, that's sort of true. You buy something, you have a momentary, short-lived burst of happiness. Hooray, I have a new toy. And all of this stems back to this programming from childbirth: get a good job, to get a good house, to buy a good car, so on and so on and so on. Why do we do it? Because we're told to, because we're expected to, because your parents expect it, because your spouse expects it, because your extended family expects it, because your colleagues expect it, because your peers expect it, and because your neighbors expect it. But if you really stop and think, all you're doing is working to service debt, to buy things you don't need, probably don't really even want when it comes right down to it, so that you can look better, so that you can increase your social standing, so that you can make more money, so that you can buy more things that won't make you happy, so that you can increase your social status, so that you can get a higher paying job, so that you can, it's this never ending circle, right? And all it does is momentarily numb the pain and realization that you might be wasting your life working to make somebody else financially wealthy while you slowly die the death of 1,000 cuts. And if you are a follower of Jesus, you are called to be free. You are told that you are free, and so many of us then take that freedom and trade it in for this corporate slavery. Why? It's because it's that expectation again. Now, this is difficult because, you know, a very strong biblical principle is that the borrower is servant to the lender. Okay? If you have debt, the bank is your master. Who can serve God and mammon, or God and money? Well, most Christians I know are trying awfully hard because they service debt and they try to have God as their master. But if the borrower is servant to the lender, unfortunately, you're a servant to your creditors, to the people that lent you money. So this leads to an interesting conundrum where you are working every day to service something that is not only killing you slowly, but it is abiblical, a-Christian, and amoral, frankly. So it raises the question, what are you going to do? Well, here's a thought. What would happen if you went back to driving the Sentra instead of the Infiniti? What happens if you downsize your home, pay off your mortgage? What happens if you sell a bunch of stuff you don't need, don't use, and don't really want, pay off your credit card debt, pay off your student loans, make a plan, pay off your debt, start there? How far are you willing to take this? Now you're free of debt, okay? You owe no earthly man anything, except you do, because you're still employed. What do I mean by that? Well, the ultimate measure of freedom is this. If you have to rely on somebody else for food, water, or shelter, you're a slave. Because if you're not providing food, water, and shelter for yourself, somebody else is. That means they, in a de facto sort of way, own you. How far are you willing to take it? Are you willing to quit your corporate job and not everybody's called to this, granted, but I think this is certainly the morally superior way to live your life. Are you willing to lay down that supposedly secure paycheck, which recent economic events have shown us is anything but secure? Lay that down and pursue an entrepreneurial venture using the gifts God has given you. Will you get rich? You will not get financially wealthy. You might, but you probably won't. But you will become spiritually wealthy. Are you good at cleaning? Great. Start a cleaning business. Are you good at organizing? Great. Start an organizing or an auditing business. Start a consultancy. Are you artistic? Great. Make money on your art. Are you going to be rolling in money? No. Should that matter? Absolutely not. Why? Because that money wasn't making you happy to begin with. In fact, it is working as your taskmaster. Give your head a shake. When will we all collectively wake up and realize that what we think we're doing for our own benefit or for the benefit of the kingdom or the benefit of those around us is in fact doing nothing but work as a tool for enslavement and misery in your life? I'm not telling you to quit your job tomorrow and go out and do it. But what if next Monday or the Monday after that or a Monday 6 months from now or maybe a year and a half down the road, you wake up in the morning owing no earthly man anything, and you get up to go out the door and serve the people around you with your God-given talents and gifts, and watch as your needs are provided for financially and otherwise. Give that some good hard thought. You may be surprised at where the Father takes you down that rabbit hole. And with that, I will leave you for this episode. I would encourage you, again, go check out reflectingtheway.com. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter at Reflect the Way and Reflecting the Way on Facebook. Check out the accompanying art of this episode. And with that, I will leave you. Blessings.